Welcome. If you're new, my name is Kenneth Berenson. In this channel, we are exploring consciousness and making sense of our human energy and why we're here and how to operate this body in accordance with energetic truth, is what we call it. When a human being, is in alignment with energetic truth, that's truly when that being and the energy functioning of that human connection starts to operate properly. You call it intuition, but we call it that it starts to operate properly, because that is the nature. When you get those two polarities correct and you have balanced that in your life and you manage to have a balance with what you're saying, what you're speaking, what you're thinking even, there's a lot of cleaning that's needed. And that is the reason for A Course in Miracles. It is to train your mind and train your frequency to the holistic perspective, where you think correctly. That's really what it is. You think correctly accordance to your energy system working in the most optimum way, which has very clear telling signs. It feels very good. It is that simple. If something does not, that doesn't mean it has anything to do with anything outside. It is, what am I thinking about that? What is it about that that's so significant? If it is something out there. And if it's just a belief, oh no, I don't believe that. Well, that's okay. You can believe whatever you want. But the energetic truth will always be true, no matter what you believe. Although your belief can create a lot of realities. But if it's not completely in alignment with energetic truth, you're getting weird sort of artifacts in your field, which is a direct reflection on the light that you have inside and what you are, how you look at this world. Because if you have any judgments and things like that, you're going to recreate the same thing until you can see the truth of what it is for yourself. Because once you see the truth, the energetic truth of any past things that you have been through, once you see the holistic perspective and you accept, of course, there can be fighting against the truth because you, like, for whatever reason, but once you acknowledge it, and this is not something that is forced upon you. It's not a forced upon thing. But sometimes it might feel like that. If you have gone all your life believing that the world is in a certain functioning in a certain way, and people are supportive, but then you start to see more of energy, and you start to see like, hey, no, they're just taking advantage, and like, you can actually see the interworkings of what energy and people and what it actually looks like, what it actually is, what that behavior actually is in energy. That's when you start to wake up to see more. That's when your energy system has expanded. And sometimes your energy system can expand before you're even ready for it. And that's when it's good to have some knowledge about this holistic perspective so that you can make sense of this reality. because this reality is much more interesting than what you might think. When you start to have the right perspective on what your feelings are and what things mean, you can start to have a dialogue in feeling. It doesn't come with words, but words mean something too. It's the sentiment of the words that mostly this has to do with. If you're not sure what we're doing, we are channeling. If that was at all unclear, I don't think we mentioned that in this video. So as you are learning about how to calibrate your systems, you will start to notice that, and it's very visceral, like you can't fake this for yourself even, like, and that's the whole point. You want to be honest with yourself about where you're at, because if you're trying to pretend that you're somewhere else, first of all, the beings that can see, they can see, and if like, okay, because beings choose so much from their consciousness. They even prejudge. It's so fast. But you are the only one that can hold yourself back by limiting a brother or a sister in the way that they can show up for you. If you constantly project and you want someone to fit a certain mold, that's what that does, actually. If someone is very controlling, they sort of control the situation in action so that things are normal. Sometimes not even consciously. If you're not aware of this energy world and how it operates and how you can utilize it and alter it and mold it to host higher intelligence. That's the whole point. That is what a human body is meant to do. This is not something extraordinary, even though it might seem like that from certain dualistic perspectives. This is actually how a normal being functions. Connecting with higher intelligence like this, it is a normal thing that everyone has the capability of training their consciousness in order to connect with higher consciousness. And in order to know that you are receiving them clearly. Because if these two polarities are a little bit off, you can still channel, but sometimes it might not come as clear, and there might be interferences and things like that. Sometimes you might be skilled enough to maneuver them, but that takes a lot of practice in consciousness, in your focus, what's what, in your psychology, how to work with the energy and how to actually move with it internally. You are all powerful creators in your own field. You are creating all of the time. Make sure that you are utilizing your God-given gift of creation and steer it in the right direction. That is the reason why we are shifting altogether in consciousness in these 28-day consciousness shifts. And if you're interested to join us to shift in consciousness, there is a link below to get started. We love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. We're sending you so much blessings on your path. We know that you can do this. We know that it can be challenging sometimes, but we know that there are great rewards ahead. Stay aligned. We love you so much. Ciao.